Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm Summer Championship being broadcasted live from Jönköping in Sweden. We are here at the DreamHack Summer venue, and we are hyped to deliver you some of the finest Heroes of the Storm action that you have ever seen on a global stage. There are teams here that still have a lot to prove. There are teams that have shown glory yesterday as well. But today, we are going to focus on teams from a region that hasn't been playing in the second group stage at all. With me on the desk, as always, the lovely Jay How. How are you doing, sir?
You know, I woke up today after yesterday's games and I thought, is it going to get better? And I'm like, yeah, it's going to get a lot better. And this is actually what I'm excited for. I mean, the fact that we had a good group of game yesterday, today, I think, has the potential to be even that much more explosive. I mean, this is just potentially going to be an awesome day.
Absolutely, and I'm feeling a little bit outnumbered by the NA people here, but it's all going to be good because the first best of three will be between Team Dignitas and Mayan Sandy. Dreadnought, how excited as an American are you to be part of the analyst for this very series?
I mean, I am very excited, obviously, when I've studied a lot of Europe, casting both of the regionals, and I feel like these teams have developed a lot recently, and how they're going to square up against the Asian teams, today we get to find out.
And last but not least, to make things complete, we have, of course, Gillyweed here. Good morning, and on a scale from 1 to 6.5 out of 10, let us know how pumped you are to be here.
I would say 6.5 out of 10, Kendrick, because we get Mayan Sanity versus Team Dignitas, a clash between teams that has happened a lot recently, and I can't wait to see how it's going to happen here today.
It is such an amazing series to start things off with. I mean, both teams have won a respective European title. Dignitas started things off with a title in Leicester, UK. Looking pretty good here, not even dropping a single map. But the same can be said about Mayan Sandy, of course. In tours, they looked flawlessly. For now, though, we're once again going to focus on the global events that took place here. In a whole, let's take a look at the road to the Summer Championships here. There are many regions that came to this tournament. Some of them, unfortunately, are already out of the tournament. PBA, for example, the dark horse that surprised so many people from Taiwan, they are no longer here. Unfortunately, also for our American fans and viewers out there, Team Naventic and Gale Force Esports are no longer with us. It's a little bit unfortunate because, let's be honest, the West needs to redeem itself. Not only the US, but also, of course, the European regions. They fell quite miserably in the Spring Championship, and they certainly have to make up a lot here, Jay-How.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to make up for sure. I mean, obviously with Naventic going out yesterday, things looked a lot different now, especially when we have Dignitas and Mayan Sanity here. I mean, the fact that we are looking at this as kind of like the Western region's only hope, I don't think it's that. The thing about the games today is that, like, I honestly don't care what region wins, because like every team is amazing to watch. I mean, that's the thing that I'm here. When you get to see it live and you get to see it in person, I mean, it's that much better. I mean, the energy around the teams here, around the competition and stuff like that, I mean, it's huge. This is the absolute best. Yeah. Duking it out. I mean, it's like Clash of the Titans every single match. I mean, it's amazing.
In my personal opinion, I even think that this group is more stacked than Group A was yesterday because the teams themselves are much closer in terms of skill level, Dread.
I think I would agree with that the skill level is much closer, and I guess depending on how you view the word stacked, I would agree.
Yeah.
I feel like the powerhouses that existed in Group 1 were very impressive, but yes, today's matches I think will be a lot closer. We have rivalries. I mean, there's a lot of things going for the stories of this one, along with the quality of games.
Most definitely. And of course, we've been comparing the groups already very shortly, so let's actually take a longer look at what both groups, Group A and B, of course, have been looking like. Of course, this is the second group stage, guys. After this group stage, we will move on to the playoffs, to the semifinals, and of course, the grand finals. Yesterday in Group A, we've had E-Star Gaming and MVP Black qualifying themselves for this very playoff stage. E-Star Gaming on the top here because they overall won more maps. MVP Black, of course, you know, rushing things through very decisively and very convincingly. Oh, on the other hand, we have Group B, X-Team and Tempest. Very strong Asian teams. The winners, or almost the winners of their respective region, Tempest was the only team who was able to defeat MVP Black in a fair and square series. On the other hand, of course, we have the previously mentioned MYI and Dignitas, two teams that have built up a little bit of a grudge match through time because they have been facing each other plenty of times, Jay-How.
You talked fair and square. Can we talk about how Tempest dominated MVP Black?
I tried to be a little bit more nice there, but
that's just showing how strong of a team they are.
Definitely. A team that is not to be underestimated by any means. Now you can see the Group B bracket here on your screens. The first best of threes, of course, is going to be between Mayan Sandy and Team Dignitas, whereas later on we're going to have a little bit of an Asian rivalry going on between X Team and Tempest, of course. X Team, Gilly, you are an expert on Chinese teams. How strong are they in their current form?
They looked like they were a little bit shaky in the first group stage. I think up at the interviews, Elegant had said that they weren't really playing their best. It was their first time internationally, but it's Tempest's first time internationally too. So we have yet to see how they're really going to do. They, of course, took down MVP Black so dominatingly, but they could as easily come in. I don't think they will, but they could come in and be like, oh, we're in Europe. This is new. This is crazy. And could tilt themselves. We'll have to see.
On the flip side, though, we mentioned that, of course, Team Tempest has a lot to prove because they have never really competed against teams that are not from their region. Do you think that the team that was able to take down MVP Black can also hold their own against non-Korean teams, Dred?
I think as long as their composure remains solid, I definitely think they have the skill level to be able to do so. A lot of the members there are very experienced in the Korean scene, and also I feel like have seen international play, whether it be in Heroes or in a different game. And for me, I feel like the story that I look forward to the most is whether or not Europe will be able to make it out, because as you said, X Team does feel to be a little bit sketchy in their play compared to the regionals.
Yeah, definitely. For now, though, guys, let's focus a little bit more on our upcoming series between two European titans, if you will. Jehao, can you maybe compare their playstyle a little bit, or is it actually very similar?
I mean, it's very different in the sense that Mayan Sanity, you really don't know what to expect from their draft. Their drafts look completely different than pretty much everybody here, and I think that's what kind of can throw people off, is that a lot of teams are used to playing against a certain meta, so to speak, in the sense that they're used to playing against certain heroes, but when they start to go up against things that are different, it changes their bans. It changes very different things to try and even the playing field. I think Mayan Sanity brings a lot to the table because of that specifically.
And one major thing that I'd like to point out with that is even though Mayan Sanity has looked very impressive within their region, that style of drafting has never worked out to make it to the top 4 internationally, ever. Every single team that has managed to do that played the quote-unquote standard with a few variables. For instance, we see like the medic with the sanctification to keep them alive. There are some exceptions to it, but for the most part, the core is almost always the same. So if they are able to do it with that creative approach to the game, it will be very impressive.
On the flip side, Gilly, we have Team Dignitas, of course, who are a little bit of an unknown factor because they have changed their roster, adding Alex the Prodigy as their warrior player. So that always makes things a little bit different because you have different shot calling, you have different team synergy. Do you think that they can show up strong here in this upcoming series?
I know that this is going to sound a little crazy, but Team Dignitas is probably the least impressive team from the summer. Going from winning without dropping a single map to not even making it out of the group stage in the second regional.
Very bitter.
They have a lot to prove, and they did not prove that the roster swaps were good. They had a lot of reasons for why they struggled in that second regional, but none of them were the roster swaps. So this is the time to prove that they made the right move, because a lot of people are questioning whether it was.
All right, so it is time for Team Dignitas to enter the stage and to prove once and for all that they are still the strongest team in Europe. Let's see what they prepared for.